people come together, strangers, neighbors, the blood is one. Children of generations, of every nation, of kingdom come. So don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. Take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where our help comes from. Whoa. His kingdom come. Don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. Take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where our help comes from. Let the praise go up as the walls come down. Creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Swing wide, hold your hands. Let the praise go up as the walls come down. Everything with breath, repeat the sound. of God. His name is Jesus. What's his name? Jesus, our redemption and our salvation is in his blood. Jesus, the light of heaven, reign forever, his kingdom come.
Welcome, movement. Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm so happy you're joining us, whether that be on YouTube, on Instagram Live, on Facebook, wherever it may be. We're happy that you're here. So, a question you've probably heard quite a bit lately is, well, what do we do now? I mean, this is uncharted territories for most, if not everyone. And so you're asking yourself, what do I do, right? And being in isolation has got people going stir crazy. They've got what's called cabin fever, you know what I mean? And if you haven't noticed, your boy has succumbed to quarantine, to Rona, to whatever you want to call it. And I broke down and I let my wife bleach my hair. Not really sure what I'm doing. Under most circumstances, I would never allow such a dramatic change. And I know what you're thinking, but believe it or not, I am someone who relatively, to an extent, cares about how he looks. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, if you care so much about how you look, why wouldn't you dedicate more time to being fit, which I am. Thank you very much. And maybe don't buy all your clothes at Walmart. But regardless of where I get my clothes, I care somewhat about how I look. I will try different t-shirts on. I'll try about 5-10 different t-shirts on just to make sure it's not making me look too big. You know what I'm saying? It's hard being big and trying to dress the way you want. But anyway, my point being is that up until recently, I have really valued how other people see me. But quarantine, whatever you want to call it, has opened my eyes, just like it's opened many other people's eyes, to what is really important. And for me, it's an understanding of, hey, don't take yourself too seriously, and you don't have to put so much time and effort into how you look. But my question to you is, what is something that you have realized during this quarantine? Is it maybe you realized that you need a routine a little bit more than you knew? Maybe you've come to a new understanding of exactly what it takes to keep a house or a living space clean now that you guys are in it pretty much 24/7, and I would assume your parents are making you clean up your own messes. And for those of y'all who living in filth, I'm praying for y'all, because I know there's at least one of y'all out there just being teenagers. And maybe you've had to practice some patience, being around your siblings or your family members, being around people that you used to get a break from, right? You used to get a break from by going to school, and you don't get that break anymore. So maybe you've realized what it takes to be patient. One other thing I have realized during this time apart, this time out of my normal routine, this time of isolation, is that we cannot use this isolation as an excuse, right? We can't use this as an excuse not to just eat junk food and not take care of ourselves. I learned that the hard way. We can't use it as an excuse not to care for the neighbors and the community and the people that we live around and things like that. We can't use self-isolation as an excuse not to care about the community. And most importantly, we can't use it as an excuse not to spread the word and we can't use it as an excuse not to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. So, what I want to talk to you guys today, or what I'd like to share with you just real quickly, is out of Philippians. So when Paul wrote to the church in Philippi, he too was isolated. But he was isolated in a very different way for a very different reason. He was isolated because he was imprisoned. But despite what many would consider a setback, Paul saw this as an opportunity. Philippians 12 through 14, it says, "Now, I want you to know, brothers and sisters, what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel. As a result, it has become clear throughout the whole palace guard and to everyone else that I am in chains for Christ. And because of my chains, most of my brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord and dare all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear." So, we, like Paul, have unique opportunities to demonstrate the hope of the gospel, not in spite of our situations and our circumstance, but precisely because of them. So I've got 3 ways that in the midst of our circumstances, in the midst of quarantine, isolation, whatever, that we can demonstrate what it means to follow Christ. The first one is by showing that we are concerned, but we are not anxious. Do we have reasons to be concerned about coronavirus? Absolutely. Coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. Do we have reasons to be concerned? Absolutely. Do we have reasons to be afraid or to be anxious? Absolutely not. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding because of Christ and his promises to redeem the world, which we see in Philippians 4. It's Philippians 4:7. It says, "Not that I desire your gifts. What I desire is that more be credited to your account." In this time of great insecurity, our ultimate security can make the gospel appealing to our friends and to our family. So by showing that we're being courageous, that we have courage to, yes, be concerned, but not be afraid, not be anxious, we can show them that the gospel is in fact appealing. So we can make the gospel seem appealing to our friends, our family, and our neighbors. Number 2, by demonstrating uncommon care for those around us. Now more than ever, people need to be shown that they are not what society deems their worth. Maybe you aren't an essential worker. I'm sorry I'm using so many air quotes, but there's a lot of jargon, a lot of language going on. But maybe you or your loved one, maybe your neighbors are not being considered essential workers. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe they're sick, or maybe they've got autoimmune disease that keeps them from going out into public. All of these things we need to provide comfort for in the same way that Jesus provided comfort. This is a moment in which asking personal questions is not necessarily intrusive when you're asking someone about their health or about how they're doing, but it's actually very humane. So we need to let our neighbors know that we're caring for them deeply. And more than just, hey, how you doing? How you doing? These common things that we just say as kind of greetings, but legitimately asking people how they are doing. Hey, I know that so-and-so has been struggling health-wise. How are they doing? Is there anything I can do to help? Can I mow your lawn? Can I go get you groceries? For those of you who are able to drive, being able to just be out and not have to worry about the health conditions that older people or people with autoimmune diseases have. that can be such a blessing, and that can show the people in your immediate area, in your community, that you care for them outside of just, hey, what can you do for me, or what is your value, what is your worth, right? So we're showing people that we care for them and that we love them each and every day, just like Jesus would have. Now going back, I want to repeat Philippians 1:14. It says, "And because of my chains, most of the brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord and dare all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear." So my third thing is the way that we can, demonstrate these unique opportunities in the same way that Paul did. We need to share the gospel explicitly. The first two things that I talked about they kind of hint to the gospel. They kind of hint to Jesus. But what I'm saying now is the time, as we're getting stuck in our virtual classrooms and our virtual hangouts and stuff like this, we need to be able to express explicitly our faith, our belief in Jesus Christ. So, as Christians, we have a spiritual vaccine that can provide hope forever, a hope that exceeds any situation, any illness, anything that this world can throw at us. We have the vaccine that can provide hope forever. So, as I come to the end of this short message, I hope you're joining us in our Zoom small groups. Let us be bold. Let us be courageous. Let us be, just deep enough in our faith to proclaim the gospel without fear. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Please join our small groups in the Zoom meeting. The Zoom meeting link should be in the descriptions. Follow Movement on Instagram, on TikTok. Follow Kairos on Facebook, on YouTube for any sort of updates. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. God bless.